here at MJBizCon with Bruce Linton.
Hey.
So, what do you think of the show?
Unbelievable, right? So I've been coming here for about 5 years, maybe 6 years.
Was it in a conference room back then?
It used to be held over at the Rio, which is like it's like being stranded, and it was really small. But what I love here is, it's bigger, but it's also you're starting to see more and more professional organizations. The first one I came to, the only company that stood out was Dixie Elixir, and the equipment was designed if you were doing like home production. And so when you walk around here now, you're actually seeing industrial scale. You're starting to see things that automate, and I'm impressed too. You're seeing a lot more suits.
Yeah, a lot of suits.
Aren't there? There's a lot of suits.
Do you feel bad wearing a t-shirt?
I always wear a t-shirt, man. I got to always advertise. But this is actually, as Cassandra handles over her business, to be run by others, it's at a solid state.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable, just the size and scale of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I got lost on the way back from the bathroom, and it's not that far away, but there's a lot in between.
Yeah.
And actually, as you're saying sort of about the maturation of what's happening here, like I walked by some booths, and I know you probably know what they are.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what the machine was.
Yeah, no, and the neat thing is one of the booths I stopped at and had a nice chat was they were representing why you should come and produce CBD in Harbin, China.
Okay.
I don't recall seeing a lot of Chinese government-sanctioned booths at the weed show in prior years.
No.
So it means, like, if you got China here, there's a Colombia booth.
Yeah.
There's enough internationalization of this that you know the momentum's going.
Yeah, it really is. And even just the number of people that have come by here.
Yeah.
In some respects, like people used to want to know what's happening in Canada.
Yeah.
Now it's much more global.
Well, now we have to push Canada to get people to stop. And people seeing this video can't see. You're essentially held inside what would be a medium-sized dog pen at the show, and you're just casting out and grabbing people walking by. It's a very effective strategy.
It's pretty good. Got you.
Yeah,
I nailed you.
I was just heckling you.
I want to talk about two things. One is the future of cannabis in Canada, and I'll tell you what the other one is after that.
Yeah.
We were just on the Steve Paikin show together,
Yep.
which I don't know why I was there. I know why you were there. But
you were on the show. I was in
you were in San Diego,
LA or San Diego, yeah.
Talk a bit about what you think we should be looking for.
I thought you did a very good job on that.
I thought you did a great job, too.
I was like... usually you're in a weird spot, right? You're asking all the questions.
Yeah.
And I thought with Steve, who's very good at his job, he gave you a bunch of space, and I thought you that went very well.
Thank you. I thought it went really well, too. But we're talking about sort of the future of Ontario retail specifically there. But talk about what you, if you had a crystal ball and aspirational goals for what's going to happen in Canada, what do you think we ought to be thinking about really seriously in Canada?
Well, it's kind of like there's a booth over there that says they have the very best packaging for beverages. And I saw two pieces of equipment for containerizing beverages. And I saw somebody giving small samples of effervescent, multi-flavor CBD drinks. So I've been a broken record on it, but I think it's going to be huge and it's going to be disruptive and it's going to start in Canada. But that's great, that's short term. Where I'm really excited is when people start reading data. So Canopy, Aurora, some of the companies that are actually conducting trials to say, how do you sleep better? How do you make geriatric care better? That data is going to be read in Q1 for some of the companies. Yeah. And I think it's going to allow a lot of people to say, see, I told you. I knew the stuff worked. And then it starts leading to a conversation about, actions of, mechanisms of action, dosage structure. But that gets really interesting. And so I think Canada is going to get back in vogue for those two reasons in Q1.
Because the companies can do it. At scale.
And clinical trials don't happen right away. You got to get production. Yeah. Then you have to get stabilized medical ingredients. Then you have to register your trial and have it peer reviewed and approved. Then you have to conduct it, and then you read data. That just sounded like 2.5 to 3 years. And
sounded like a lot.
That's what's coming out soon.
Yeah. Can I ask you another question? We didn't prep for this.
Isn't that a question by asking me if you can
ask
a question?
Can I ask you another question?
Third question? Yes.
The next question.
Okay.
The one I'm going to ask. There's been a lot of conversation, even among this group here, about what's next in the world related to plant-based medicine. And there's been some conversation around psychedelics, obviously.
Yes, there should be.
Psilocybin. Talk a little bit about that. You were certainly a pioneer on the business component of what happened in cannabis in Canada and around the world.
Yeah.
Do you see a similar path for psychedelics?
Not a similar path, but so I was interested in psychedelics. So I was meeting with George, who started Compass before it was called Compass. It's a psilocybin research company out of the UK. He's a smart guy, former McKinsey guy. Wife's a doctor. They had a very personal orientation because of their son. You got a couple of the guys who come out of the cannabis space who are starting these things. The one I put in money with and focus on is called MindMed and mindmed.co. And what it's about is we don't want to pick a winner. We want to create a framework where we can bring a whole bunch along. Because psilocybin or ibogaine or LSD or, what you really have to think about is if you're drawing what you want to do with money and thinking, is down the left-hand column you list all the indications that you think you can create a response in the human body with psychedelics. And then across the top column, you list all the psychedelics, and then what you do is you do an exercise of allocating capital on a primary spend and a secondary spend, so you can't be wrong. You just might have allocated less or more. And so that's what we're doing in MindMed, because really it's about how do you take things out of prohibition and then how do you monetize them, and that's going to be very clinical. So it's not going to be like weed in terms of this becomes a public fun thing. I really don't think that's going to happen, but what I do think it's going to be is disruptive and negative to some of these other standard accepted pharmaceutical products. So like, if somebody's in a final stage of palliative care, if you can actually combine, I don't care, psilocybin or other active ingredients to make that pain less and keep them mentally more cognitively there, I think people are going to be good with that.
I think so too.
That's, I think the work needs to be done. What I like is there are places on this planet you can do the work.
Yeah.
So the logic should be, where can I do the work to get the data where the policy allows me, and then bring it to where the policy doesn't allow me so I can use the data to win the argument.
Right.
And so that's more our logic.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Yeah.
Do you think will there be major leaps in 2020 on that front?
I think, you're going to see a lot of capital come into this space, into 2 or 3 companies, and you're going to see a bunch of followers. The followers will get less money. They'll probably be better golfers because they don't want to do the work. They just want the money. But I think it would be foolish in 2020 for people not to selectively include some potential winners in cannabis and a smaller allocation to some potential psychedelic research companies. And one of the things I want to do is, the word psychedelic's dumb to use.
What do you want to use?
Well, there's a lot of these things are oriented to like cognitive function and neuroelasticity.
Yeah.
So there's a way that we're going to come to a framing word that is not carrying the luggage of, Janis Joplin and crew.
She's okay too,
Yeah.
but I get it.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce, as always, thank you for making time.
No problem.
It's good to see you face to face, not screen to face.
Exactly.
We always look forward to connecting with you, and thanks for your time, man.
No, keep it up. Appreciate it.